Alright, hello YouTube. Once again, we are back with the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. After, like, literally a month of delaying it from life and just me not doing it. We're back. And as always, we just jump right into it. The Adventure of the Runaway Room.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident,
I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude.
the beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives. This country is incredible.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
Alright. Well then. of February, 921, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. The place is breathtaking. Looks like a fortress. There's some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course, but they've only been built in the few short decades since we've opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar. But I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's office, an article is on. At the Supreme Court of Great Britain. Yeah, it looks like David Gant's gonna pop out, or is one of, like, his ancestors or something. The Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time. If circumstances were different, we were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Yes. And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So, we'd have to return to Japan. If we want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer, which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. Ah, good morning. Sorry for keeping you. Hey, I know what I said about Gant, but come on. This guy definitely looks like him. I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. Seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no, don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So, introductions. I am Mal Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. And I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't be a mouse. Oh, It's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryonosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. It's been a while since I had to say that. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Yes, thank you. Alright. Oh. Huh. I want to examine first, while we have the time. Also while I familiarize myself with the controls. Just look at all the naughty books packed together on these shelves. They go from the floor to the ceiling. And they're all books that you couldn't hope to come by in Japan. It's like a dream. Yes, a very bad dream. They're not all about British law either. There are books about the judicial systems of other Western nations. France, Germany, Spain, Holland. What about Russia? Why do you ask? Oh. Huh, why do I ask? I wonder. I was wondering about asking the Lord Chief Justice how you say wardrobe in Russian. What do you think? I think perhaps it's a thought best abandoned. Hope that bitch got thrown overboard. I know she did it, but still. Look at these menacing metal giants facing each other across the room. I believe they're suits of armor. Oh, right. I thought maybe they were like the lion dogs we have in Japan guarding shrine gates. No, not at all. In fact, in Europe, suits of armor like these are always possessed by evil spirits, you know? And they roam around in the middle of the night. Really? Is there nothing you don't know, Miss Susato? This book tells me everything I need to know about everything. If you're ever unsure, just ask. Where did you get that incredible tome? There's a pesky desk. This must be the Lord Chief Justice's desk. I believe it's made of marble. Looks more like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me. I think that's your fanciful imagination at work again, Mr. Naruhodo. Feels like everything that's normally made of wood and paper at home. It's made of bricks and stone here. I know. That's why this place feels so overbearing, I'm sure. Alright. Is this some kind of clock? Actually, I think we might be inside some sort of giant clock. But those gears are larger than anything you'd find on a steam locomotive even. It's eerie. Do you think clocks are some sort of hobby of his? The Lord Chief Justice, I mean. Well, boys do enjoy fiddling around with machines, don't they? I'm not sure you could fiddle with cogs that size, and I'm certain you couldn't call him a boy. Still, it's amazing how little noise the cogs make, considering how large they are. There's actually something quite soothing about their precise rhythm. Anything else? Doesn't look like it. Alright. There we go. London. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Help. I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh. We had a wonderful view of some of London's streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say, I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water, and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh, yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Susato-san. And everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. I don't think that's true. Not from what I hear. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming great exhibition we will be hosting here in London. Great exhibition? Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history. It will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. If you do say so yourself. The sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times, we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. Lost it. Lord Chief Justice, I think you're expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report of the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. That's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news. Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it's true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madam? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo, this is it then. The moment of truth. The thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead, but without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Asogi. At least, that is what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is, this really isn't going well at all. I just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Mr. Naruhodo, I can ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I going to say? There is someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer. It's... Actually, there's no one. It's me. It's me. I could do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but... No qualifications, you say? Yet you still claim to be a lawyer. I have acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. And I had Kazuma to help me, and I was the accused. We're glossing over the details. I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain study. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Buria. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Not what you might call a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on the study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to send me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry? Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you in good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to a trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Huh? But let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? You say you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things? Or did this expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden? Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? Interesting that he said down to you and not up to you. I don't know if that has any meaning, or if that's just a different, like, personal choice, right? So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news. Today? Straight away? If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? Ugh, how do I get myself into these situations? Well, could I ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. Ah, I remember. It's a murder trial. Of course it is. A murder? Extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. That's easy to say, but I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will of course be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? He'll be put to death? Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short C-based introduction to British law. We can't possibly agree to such a test. We'd be toying with a man's life. I am the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. So the defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? Yeah, I'll do it. For Kazuma. Alright then. If I have to give you a decision now... Oh. I can't do it. I can't get the words out. I was gonna say yes, but oh, my answer is... I think he just stutters. 15 seconds. Your decision-making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket for back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Mr. Sato. What could I do? It's alright. I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. But resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madam? I think what Mr. Sato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that. I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. Well, that's awful, but that is the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold, hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. I'm really his only hope. So, what do you say now, madam? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, and I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. Yeah, we probably should. Alright. London's highest criminal court with an illustrious past, the Old Bailey. So where I'm to take my test and prove my worthiness as a lawyer. Alright, let's go. 18th February, 9:45, Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, thank goodness, we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. Court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait in is grand. Excuse me. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court of Japan. In a press of air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever's about to be sentenced. Feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes. Whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madam. Sir. Oh. What are yous doing here? Follow me here. Things are fair desperate, are they? Sorry? Would you look at those expressionless faces? From the east, are yous? We're from Japan, yes. Ah, Japan, is it? Right, say no more. So, how much do yous need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name. And all while in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. Tis grand, tis grand. Let me start by giving yous 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. 1,000 guineas? I'm assuming it's guineas. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Please, Mr. Sato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? There's nothing to me at all. I'd like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah, the heavy of the eye. Was it me? Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you, no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, this is a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me. Nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial's going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Bluster and blazes, do yous not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry. We've only just arrived at the city, you see. I see. Suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park, there in the center of London, is another beautiful park. Sorry? Park? What? This is called McGilded Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. And an entire park? In central London? City of Smiles. That's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its queer old people. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. Ah, but now they're gall to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with the London police, I ask you? Alright, don't pass out. Mr. Naruhodo. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves, while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students, on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to... Oh, what was I after saying, you daft Egypt? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry. I know what you think. What you thinking. This chancer of a fella claims to have more money than the queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well, well... No, I just don't know who the fuck you are. Not at all. Not at all. Although, it is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry? Did you just say Reaper? I, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Baroque Van Zykes? He's the prosecutor. Prosecutor is the Grim Reaper? When Van Zykes stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? So it's reached the desperate situation, where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fellow at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Baron Van Zykes. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor, then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial's about to begin. His counsel? That'd be me. Oh, it's time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Oh, whoops. Until you showed your face here, I'd made up me mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance. Student of law, wouldn't you know? It's no accident, I can assure you of that. It's fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. I literally know nothing about the case or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Mr. Naruhodo, the man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. Let's fucking go, I guess, right? It's happening then. My first trial in the British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Fucking wild. Wonder what the judge is gonna look like. 18th February, 10 a.m., Old Bailey courtroom. Oh. It's a council of judges, it looks like. So this is the highest court in the Great Britain. Well, I guess that makes sense, right? The Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court of Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. Oh, I have the katana, that's so cool. Hell yeah. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes. What? Your eye looks ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. Oh. Dracula-looking motherfucker. So there's a judge, but there's also like a council of them? In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. Oh, hey, about the Queen. We're here today to oh my god, I can't say words. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Bungled that sentence a bunch. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Those eyes please me, the ponies. Alright, guy. Look, you're hot and all, but you can't be doing that. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. Oh god. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Alright, guy. Look. A cold shiver just ran down my spine, all the way to the tips of my toes. Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord? You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You can be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, my lord, it is a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fellow is a student from some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I'd like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilded. What a fine gentleman London has in him. Did you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mother, please, may we go play in McGilded Park? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, in most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly to remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? Yes, my lord. If the task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship has always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Ha! Any criminals here will soon be wishing they'd never set eyes on me. Well, I don't think you can have a knife. Just gonna say that. Cool. Alright. Yeah? I feel a chill. Alright. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, those people are. The jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right. I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. How exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes. Prosecutor Van Zykes. My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounced your fame. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So, what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance of which the court should be aware? I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a court of overwhelming simplicity. You must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as Thrice Fired Mason. Sorry, Thrice? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. Oh. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. Autopsy report. And a photograph. And one further item of evidence. Prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are... Good lord! Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilden's gloves have blood on them? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. What are the gloves? How did I get into this? I backed into a recorder before I even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2. Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilden. Well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilden! To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? It is the motion of the carriage, my lord. Lilton, so it is. And when I opened my eyes again, 'twas a desperate sight before me. The body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before me in me life. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Oh. Order! 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 When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. And there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. God, he's so cool. Here's a guy on the right calling it. Witnesses, your names and occupations. My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a baker in the city. My name's First. Lady First. Oh. Okay, that's funny. I make hats for gents. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witnessed to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir, that's right, sir. Very well then, let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Oh boy. What the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too. Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel. Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. Jesus Christ, alright, man. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Yes! I was gonna ask that question if they had windows or if they were, like, open. Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. They say omnibus, I'm thinking carriage. I'm an idiot. We, only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean? The actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building. What? Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff! Bring forth the stricken omnibus. Oh, yeah. Straight up, huh? So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. Okay, so it is a carriage, just not what I was thinking. But yeah, there are windows, I guess. I can't believe they could break something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. Four passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architectures and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. Were they sitting on top? And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, a skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. Oh. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. Ugh, that makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well. I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. Wild. Can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence? Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I can help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue with the proceedings, then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray, don't expect this Nipponese to stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright. My first cross-examination in a British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. Yeah. Nice, plot device to have the whole crime scene here so we can learn about it. Otherwise, we literally fail. It was a bustle last evening. Blah, 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 blah. So, what I want to see is evidence. I'm trying to remember the controls. So I can move it around. Interesting, I can't see inside. At least not yet, I don't think. Are we gonna open it? Oh. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ugh, the scene of a murder. It's horrible. Oh, this is cool. Alright. There's the blood stain. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. Victims, obviously. Yes, that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab somebody in full view of the other passengers like that? I wonder. Well, it was after dark. And there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. The seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? Does this open? The seat has a handle, it seems. Oh, it does. Aha. This looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubs, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So there's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway. Interesting, this one doesn't have a handle, so it's just the one. That's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Oh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. The windows... Oh, is this the door? Never mind. Have you seen enough? Let's step back outside, then. Yeah, I've pretty much seen everything I needed to, I believe. So what can I examine besides the door? Obviously the rooftop, but still. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. Can't examine the spot where the coach driver would sit. It's the number. Phoenix Wright Omnibus? Okay, that's nice. I think I've investigated everything I needed to of this. Time to start pressing statements.
Hold it!
Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir, that's right. Sir. Yes, ever so cold. It was freezing, sir. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, no. Of course, though, no. No one's, reacting, alright. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. No, none. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then. I have to say, the boss insists on it running, he does, every evening, that last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spend that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again. No one's still doing anything. I'm sure there'll be a queue, but, you know, I want to check. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage. That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There's a lamp on the inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces, but there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilden. Anyone could just put the hat on! What do you mean? How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? McGilden is a gentleman of rather small stature. Hey man, listen. I could have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when that vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilden. There's no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. Oh yeah, I didn't review the other evidence as well. Bryce fired Mason, 54, brickmaker, cause of death. Time and cause is 15th of February, 10 to 11. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife whilst journeying an omnibus. Died due to internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. Okay. Standard stuff. And it's just a knife. Wait, okay, his hat is very distinct, that's for sure. Just wanted to make sure. Gloves. Nothing on the inside, so just a blood mark, huh? It's definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Christ almighty. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No. By the way, is Mr. McGilden right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier. That's true. Pity. If only he'd been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. That's true. Example that. Oh, armband. An armband I inherited from Kazuma. It identifies the wearer as a defense lawyer throughout the Empire of Japan. Alright.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened. Didn't I already testify to that? Or are fair, dinkum, hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is no good. I really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell— Oh, my lord. Juror number 3. What's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. Am I timed? Well, not timed, but like, do I only have so many chances? There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter, anyway. That is precisely what I was about to say. Wait, what? As the foreman of the jury, it is my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. Bro, what? What the? What is happening here? Let me see. Ah, yes. It seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent, and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well. The court acknowledges the change of the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with the cross-examination. This is a nightmare. That's right, he stabbed him, I screamed, I did, I couldn't help. So does that mean I only have so many chances to press people for statements? If so, that's kind of fucked up.
Hold it!
He stabbed him, you say. And you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little jet sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I've been thinking about a new hat design, you see. So I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. And then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge great knife. A grim sight indeed. Ah, that didn't help me at all. The jury looks like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. It appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Oh, yes, sir? Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Is that... Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. Yeah, I was about to ask, where is the murder weapon? That is a blade of considerable size, counsel. It is. And furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Ugh, please, no. M, for Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick. Do we have profiles of all these people? Okay, none of them have a letter M, but it could also be Mason's. Doesn't mean it's his specifically. Seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
I forgot about that. But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes. Like in Mason.
Objection!
Oh, his is a fancy objection. This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Ugh. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. Murder weapon has been entered. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Ah, juror number 2. Go on. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish. Bro, this is my first day here. I've been here for like 2 hours. No. I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Are we serious right now? I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who propose a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But... Alright, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes. Collapsed on the floor, he was. And by the passenger, obviously you are referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And the other passenger had that knife in his hand like this. By the other passenger, obviously you are referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And then he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. What? My lord, I wish to speak. Well, first off, that doesn't make sense, because if he heard the scream and then turned around to see the stab, that doesn't make any sense. Yes, juror number 5? Do I take it that you, too? As the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. Would it be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though? I said to myself. But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say. No, please. Be up now, Silver Blaze. The finish is in sight. Cool. Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means that 5 jurors agreed to condemn this man. Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear? What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then, pray tell, where are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. The Gilded Park, it's called. A gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right. A man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely. Mother, may we go to McGilded Public Library later and borrow some books? How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know what kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of a man he is? Is he? The philanthropist Magnus McGilded has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What? Stone the Crows? Gilded lends money at extortionate rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard of any mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? Oh, that's a fair point. What possible reason could this man have had to make a use of a public omnibus service? You're not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him, his life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded. I don't believe it.
Hold it!
Ooh, oh. If I might add something briefly, Mr. Sato. You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where's the evidence to support your claim? Oh, he just brought out wide? God, he's so cool. I hate him. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollowed chalice in a court of law. Aha! There it is. Lord Van Zeek's hollowed chalice. How can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Ah, as As judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice and a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I would gladly accept this new evidence. Debtor's ledger. It's hard to say fast. Debtor's ledger. Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel. Are we serious right now? Still. Maybe it's all for the best. Ah, but wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more before... I don't stand for nonsense. Bro! Did I just get a game over? I don't know if this is scripted. That was it. The last juror's decision. According to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. The final verdict. It's over then. Oh. There's a footnote, though. Footnote. However, the defense... All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. Mr. Sato, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense... What did it say next? Oh, yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. The footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. I don't know what that means, but sure. Summation examination?
Objection!
A summation examination? For which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Ah. Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. What even is it, Mr. Sato? The so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment. I'll read about it. Yo, this book has everything. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails. Hell yeah. Typical Nipponese. Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions. Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decisions. Excuse me. But that procedure becomes something of a formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use. I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? I think the game's scripted and telling me to do so. Summation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat? Now let's forget it. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination. This is madness. Orban, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Eh? Well, I'm not, there was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold with all this justifying lark. That seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then, summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around. So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGilded, guilty of this most serious crime. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers, with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. Sorry to wish I had it pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I have to throw everything I can at them and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they reach their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it can recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work, then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, We then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. I see. So it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off. Can we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Well, we're gonna start with the guild guy, whatever. The guy of the guild. Jury examination. The defense's rebuttal. Yeah, I want to go to the 20 pence. You can trust the guild fair's amount. We haven't raised the price above 4 pence for years. So if there's 4 passengers, for it to be 20, it would need to be 5. So that's already wrong. So I don't know what Y does because it says pit, but I don't want to do that yet. So we're gonna press.
Hold it!
That's how much it costs to take the omnibus. That's right. As the guildmaster, I decided to set a policy for all drivers across the city. 1 fare, no matter which bus you take or how far you're going. We have to compete with the rise of the motorcar, you see. Us coachmen have to make a stand together. Motorcars, you say? Yes. And this murder on one of our buses is extremely damaging to our cause. It's beyond the pale. It'll lead to a decline in passengers, you mark my words. And it's all that rascal's fault. He has to pay. Is it the crime or his buses he's more worried about? Anyway, every member of my guild is reliable and trustworthy. So if the driver says he saw him do it, that fellow in the dock is as guilty as sin. Alright, let's go back. And then you. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence.
Hold it!
Press on you. But does his ability to recall his takings that night really tell us how trustworthy the man is? I manage all his lordship's cash affairs, so I'm very particular when it comes to accounts. I see. A single penny can mean the difference between life and death, after all, can't it? That's a saying in your country? My point is, a man who minds his figures is a man you can trust. Those of us in service would swear to that, sir. Does that bench really need any more polishing? So if the good driver says that he saw Mr. McGilded in the act, I don't doubt him. The only task left to do today is disposing of the rubbish. Wait a minute. One of the other jurors mentioned something about money, I think. That would be a very good time to listen carefully to the juror statements again, Mr. Naruhodo. If you notice the inconsistency of what 2 different jurors are saying, I should expose it by pitting them against each other. Yes, let's see if I can do just that. Alright. So right here, we're gonna pit. Oh, this is interesting. So this is how it works. Okay.
Objection!
Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other. They do. Explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said? I swear on Silver Blaze's name and name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right. I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. That it is. A fair, convenient single price. Just the way London's carriages should be operated. But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Why, man? Why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication, it would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely, 1 person's fare. 1 person's fare? Yes. In other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible. There was another passenger we've heard nothing about. Good gracious. This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword. The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy. I beg your pardon? Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to reconsider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he let nefarious characters ride his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end, Hell yeah, let's go. Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of the scales. Now hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement. Why'd you? Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo. Let's go. Ah, this is all very irritating. Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same. For the love of Mike, not you as well. A penny could be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. Oh, really? I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruto. You did it. If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more, actually. There is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. And that's where you must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show that there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly. You can do it. Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you will have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination. This is cool. I like it. I'm changing my leaning to innocent. I should like to hear what the slipshod bookkeeper has to say for himself. He stuck the knife and, oh my god, he stuck the knife, blah blah blah, whatever. Can't say words right now. Here, Beppo, this trial has to continue so I can get to the bottom of this corruption. Not guilty, I say. The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. Oh, well, right there, then. These 2.
Objection!
Those 2 statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain, counsel. Post haste. Oh, dearie me. I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What is this? What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3... What? Can't you see I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Ha! Want to test me, do you? It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up, just like the prim banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true. Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so. Now don't move. Take a look at these 2 jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What? Bless my stitches. What a muddle. What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Oh. But why? Why the dickens would they lie? I don't know that yet. But what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience? Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies. Also, I didn't notice the backs of their seats change color depending on what their verdict is. The scales. I don't believe it. Wait! Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. Huh? Me? What exactly is the problem? What of it if two witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? What of it? Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus, and this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, and then the Shylock stabbed him again, and this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, Well, the autopsy report. Who are you calling a dandy, sir? Well, I should take this knife to you. Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you. They're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? It's out of the question. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it, you Dark Jinx? Come on, out with it. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What? What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me some proof. Looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable hard evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by...
Take that!
The autopsy report. This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once. Eh? Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. Alright. I concede defeat. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won. What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. Please tell me he's a barber. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to educate. And the trial must continue. Hell yeah, let's go! I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. Yeah, fuck you, Van Zykes. More like Van Yikes. So, Lord Van Zykes, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. Yeah? Gonna break the glass? Oh, I called it. Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hollow chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zykes? Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination, so I honor the deathly silence, and listen to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as the self-evident truth, it would seem. No. And why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Oh. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Witnesses, I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir. I heard it. You, sir, are the end. The coachman. I believe it's Beppo. Yes, sir. My lord, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Oh mio Dio. Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. Alright. Various misgivings. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it. But, well, I, for one, was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. He fiddled us on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. The phantom 5th passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen for the coachman's sly little cozenage? I've never seen that word. Beppo, explain yourself. I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a petty affair? It's so cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty. Yeah, I've been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry. You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild. If I may, sir. I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, and I just can't make the result come out differently. No, that figures. It's math, Sasato. What? Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense. Your cross-examination, if you please. You've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. It's good to be back at this game. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it, but... Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. He fiddled us on the fare, he did, and then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes.
Hold it!
Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh yes. Yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice-pick grip. I suppose I might have, you know, yes, put the cart before the horse, maybe. What's this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. Then when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes. And the fellow holding the handle was the famous man. Yes. So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all. I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, no. I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing, did I? That fucking startled me. Pursue
Excuse
here.
me.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now, you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh? Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. Might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? No. Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of an omnibus, that is. Peeping? I'm a respectable city baker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I'd ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about exactly what you saw. Oh, I could do that, alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man? Well, yes, because, he had gloves.
Objection!
Blood-soaked hands? Well, I admit that soaked might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question. Oh, yes, right. And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. Ah! In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. But, no, that can't be right. So you're the liar here, then. Ah! That's right. You were quite clear about it. You said, yeah, it was both hands. Oh, that's not why I objected, but glad I got it right. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands, it was only one. But the fact remains, the victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands, which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. But why? Why? I'm a city baker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate. He's claiming to have no reason to lie. Is that really the case? Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide of this trial completely. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. I don't think so, currently. I never examined the knife. Ha. An ornate letter M, undeniably Mr. Magnus' McGilded initial. And his beautifully gilded too, it must be very valuable, I think. Ah, what is it? Look at this M. Turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W? Yes, this is one of those, you know, turnabout cases, I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know at all. What I am sure of is that this is an M. Oh, well that ain't cute. My idea was quickly quashed. I also thought about that. It's like, what if it is a W, and what is his name, you know? Oh, interesting, I can't look at anything else? That part is the sheath, isn't it? You're alright, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, sorry, yes, I just don't really like blades. Oh. Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade. That's Kazuma's soul. Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. Oh. Nothing on either side. It looks like a lot of blood. Surely is blood. Victims. An Englishman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. I was gonna say, maybe it is a W. Because, not his name. I don't think I have any evidence, though, to incriminate him, right? Might as well check this first. This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. I assure you, we will not find Mr. Schultz's name inside. Well, let's see what we find. Yeah, I'm really late at looking at these kind of things. Gosh, it's kind of full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness. What is it? Look at this. Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. There we go. Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh, yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course, but this could be very useful information. Details of the ledger. See? I knew I had to. I do this so late every time. I have evidence now. Sorry, I just have to read through. My lord. Yes, counsel. The defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove, are you sure? Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony. Very well. I hereby call the defense to present this evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court.
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilden. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused's extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently in debt financially to the accused? No. Well, it's barely worthy of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Well, what of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGilden were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist. Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant. Got him on the ropes. Order, order, order! Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you, or did you not, see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilden's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Go ahead, Mr. First. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one. What? What? It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Yes. Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of this trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. Also, so far, we haven't heard anything from the prosecution. At least he keeps quiet. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself, no. Not until I heard that scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen. Well, lo and behold, in truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. That's really not what testimony's about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case. Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel. Yes, my lord. I want to review the carriage once more, real quick. What the witnesses really saw. Present. Well, not actually present, but I want to look. Whoops. Okay, we're gonna have to go inside the door. Yeah, hurry up. I'm trying to see the thing. This. Seat has a handle. Oh, whoops. What does this here specifically? Because I think they mentioned there's no room, right? Yeah, any space for passengers to store their luggage. I was gonna think, like, maybe the killer did it and hid in here, and then that's why they didn't see them, if I had to guess. But, anyways. Blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself, not until I heard the scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen.
Hold it!
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus. That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering. It was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh, why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked? That's right. And it's a public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. Well, I can assure you I wasn't just looking down. I was glaring, long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Alright, last time. Let me look at this. Oh, well. I guess I can click on it first, right? You can see inside the carriage. Technically, no, because you wouldn't be able to see this side with the storage thing. And that's my guess of what's happening. They might not have been able to. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight and the floor on the upper deck. Is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there's a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from me. What? By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure, but the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated? Oh, right here. Like, just gonna do this.
Take that!
Both rows of the seat on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here. Ah, that's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it.
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. That's a new word. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? I honestly don't know. Who could have been? Who could have been in the other seat which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? Well, it can't be Magnus. Well, I want to say first, because that's my guess. Who could have been in the other? Well, that does make sense, because Fairplay saw him up there, right? The person on site has to be Magnus, right? And the other person was looking like him. Probably when Magnus fell asleep, he took his hat, put it on, looked like him, stabbed him, got blood on both hands, and then probably touched his hand or whatever. So it was only his right hand that had blood. So I'm gonna say I have an inkling. That's my guess. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learnt. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from the view was... I'm gonna say Magnus.
Take that!
It's the only thing that makes sense. The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
Oh shit! God, he's so cool. I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice. Do forgive the discourtesy. Also, how many of them do you have? Lord of sakes. People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which the case is built.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary! Oh yeah, put him on the ropes. Order, order, order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yep. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hat do the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would have undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. Unless, that is, you're proposing an even more preposterous explanation. Yeah, he was sleeping. He was a sleepy boy. That the accused failed to even notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Ah. He's right. There was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. It's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Order. There's clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? I'm gonna save, because I forget that I can. So I'm gonna. Because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna fuck this up. Right. That's the thing, like, would he just lie more in his testimony? I feel like that's the right answer. We kind of have to. What is the history? But indeed, it turns out the man has been withholding information. You can be sure it would have been a deliberate act. I'm gonna demand it. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilda to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilda has to say. Get the man out here, I say. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. Thank God. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say, oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilden, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? To be sure I have, my lord. There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police? Begad, no. It is not in my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell you all, or keep my mouth shut? Tell us what, Mr. McGilden? The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. It's true? Aye. It was me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. You... what? So, did he call, like, a hit? So he's not guilty of murder, but he's guilty of, like, an accessory to it. No, Magnus McGilden. That convenient excuse won't save you now. I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zykes. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a good reason, I assure you. Which was... well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see. What? If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd have done it. They'd have hauled her into this courtroom here, in this here courtroom, just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. Oh, whoops. And who is this young child of whom you speak? That I do not know. You don't know? Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings. What? Oh. I'm sorry? Look, someone's trying to get away. After them. It's no use. I can't see anything through all the smoke. What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Nadahodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the court. Oh, fuck. I was about to say, this case was going on really fucking quick. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. Yeah, the case was going way too smoothly. There had to be an intermission. It's a Phoenix Wright game, or an Ace Attorney game. It goes on for like 30 hours for one case. Yes, I would like to save my progress. And with that, I'll also take a break myself, and I'll be right back. So, see you in a second. Alright, and we're back. So... Oh, I already saved, that's right. There we go. 18th February, 12:52 p.m. Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. It's been 2 hours, Jesus. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I managed to find out what happened. Mr. Sato. I was told there was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But would have done something like that. The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Was it juror number 2, if I had to guess? Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilden was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilden, actually? There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself. There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. Oh, according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it now seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Mr. Sato. Yes. Well, I figured they would have just introduced a new character, so I figured it'd be one of the jurors. And little girl, I figured it'd be, you know, juror number 2. 18th February, 1 p.m., Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, she's there. Never mind. There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilden. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilden. Now then, Lord Van Ziegs. Or Zykes. My lord. I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies a stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? Ahem, if I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. McGilden? I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. It is all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Very well, Mr. McGilden. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. Witness testimony. On that in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, Bagora, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. I remained somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather of the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct? 'Tis exactly as the defense counsel said. This last was the 5th passenger, my lord. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Yeah, at the very least, Van Zieks is very, Van Zieks, whatever. It's very composed and quiet. The knight in question and took her to the back seat, probably nodded off. Or a loud thud.
Hold it!
You set him up. The victim, you mean? That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? It's his common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Ah, Lord Van Zieks. Now why would that be? You wait to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, as you know, I'm in some of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them. Some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no. I was always intended to report it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yes. The scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. And then I tried to find out where the scream had come from. Bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. So it's hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, me heart nearly stopped beating in me chest. Ugh, you're really overacting this. Still, all in all, I pulled her out from under there, sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chinwag with her. The seat opposite? That's right. Just next to me, the dead gentleman there. You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir. Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. While I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fellow's voice this time. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof-pick seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witnesses did not, in fact, see you at all, Mr. McGilden. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was, in fact, this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I take everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage out of sight. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. I do wonder how you must be feeling, Mr. Naruto. Being the defendant's lawyer, and yet finding myself as stunned as everyone else at his testimony? Let's just say it's trying. We certainly had precious little time to talk to Mr. McGilden before the trial. But we mustn't be dispirited. We must just try to learn all the facts we can. When we arrived in London this morning, I didn't see my day panning out like this. Mr. Naruto, no grumbling, even in your head. How did you know? I don't know if I have to press every statement or not, but, I'm gonna do this, I guess. I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir. So I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well, now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Goodness gracious. Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubby hole there for storage. Yep, I fucking called it. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course. The whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. And that's when I found her. There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
Hold it!
Did I press the statement already? You say she was hiding herself. Alright, that's right. Yeah, dim lamplight, yeah, okay. Yeah, Okay. I think this is one of those things where you have to press every statement. The only question I have right now, currently, beyond finding out which statement I do need to press, is, if he heard the girl scream, why did no one else hear it? So I'm just gonna press every statement at this point. Now, when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either. You were the first passenger, as it were. I see. Aye. And that's why I took the back seat as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means. 'Tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Never go a loud thud. A loud thud, you say, and a scream. Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me, I opened my eyes, and there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. Excuse me. You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment, you did hear a scream. Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume. Not above me, no, my lord. It was from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether taken about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before me eyes. Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What? This girl here? A petty thief? Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. I'm so... Oh, she should be, like, executed on the spot for that. How dare you? What is the meaning of this? Is she? The girl. She's gone. Open your eyes. I'm over here. Good gracious, how? What was the point of that little sidestep? I know what you're a lot of thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped and got caught up on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on. That's what's in your heads, ain't it? No, not at all. This is a court of law. How did we not, like, execute this person immediately? Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess. You don't count smoke guns as among weapons for thugs? Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day. Down where they keep the four-wheeled drags. It's nice, isn't it? Like the pink best. Ah, do not wave that thing in my direction again. So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus in the night in question. It's alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said. The court accepts this girl's, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. Alright, if I have to. Oh boy, what the fuck is this? So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles at night. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. Just pitching there. Then, after a while, I heard this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of my skin, I did. And the scream just came out. It's because of that, this swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. Yes, he let you go. Failed to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded. Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. This is where I sat that night. And the gummy hole of which you have spoken is underneath the seat, I presume. Yeah, so if you were sitting on it, you could have lifted. Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature. Aye, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there, because I parked myself on the seat for the duration. Ah, so you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I could have lived with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent. Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question. Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness. What a perfect gentleman. My lord, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir. No, I appreciate it, but we still need to figure out who the fuck killed him. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Is Sykes going to do his own summation examination? Saints alive. All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty. Mr. Naruhodo, this, well, it must mean what? Now we're victorious. We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
Yeah. Oh! Oh boy. If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. ocean. The witness's last statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report. Good lord. The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGill's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? Okay, that's what I thought. They mentioned that too. That there wouldn't be room for luggage, so I figured, oh, because she's a child, she can fit. Order. How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, Counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend? Me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the under-seat compartment to be? Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry. Go ahead. You tell the court now, fella. Oh, this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zykes. Well, counsel, do you have something to say on this matter? No, I'm going for the truth. I don't give a shit about Magnus. How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat of the omnibus? So I did it. Look, it wasn't empty. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my case as counsel for the defense, but as far as I remember at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there was a number of articles inside it, yes. Are you sure, counsel? Ah, be whist. What are you saying now, you daft daw? I thought you were on my side here. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. 'Tis not altogether pleasing, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilden. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That there cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here? I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The guild's rules state that the omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and the pick purse are lying. Ah! I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? Oh no. It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. I mean, yeah, it doesn't look good when he's trying to fucking make me lie for him. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please. Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. God, he's so cool. So I stuck inside the carriage. Oh yeah, so we're here. It's the right waste of time. Got nothing to show for my troubles. Tell you can't see a blind thing, and the hiding place is pitching there. And after a while, I hit this loud bang. Jumped out of my skin. Okay, do I have any evidence dictating the pence? I don't think so. Partly obscure from my head. I'm just trying to think if I'm just... This is one of those parts where I just press every statement, which is probably what I end up doing.
Hold it!
So, you're already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run. Well, yeah, I mean, what's the point of spending the Joey to make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, isn't it? Especially means there's no point in spending money to make money. It actually makes sense. Counsel, may I remind you that this girl's a petty thief. Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants. Well, that does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. Poor paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. And one little scapegrace ran it for free. The red conch of a driver always goes for some grub before his last run, see? So that's when I slip into the carriage and get myself in and under the seat. Nice and easy, right? Well, your hiding place is a storage compartment. Full of equipment for the coach. No. Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in the corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. It seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue. Alright, waste of time, that's for sure for any troubles. A waste of time? Why is that? Well, most nights I'm on my own, and the God permit at least some of the time. God, her talking like that makes it hard to read. I beg your pardon. Did you say God permit? Oh yeah, well, that's what my kind call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away. That's it. Only that night, this cove was sat on me seat from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not one inch. I was totally stuck. Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the enclosed cabin. Yeah. Right, mister? To be sure, I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find a child now, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there.
Hold it!
So you couldn't see out of the cabin at all. Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with me head and look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I gotta have a look. You see, I get under ain't as plush as the other ones, see? So most of the time, the passengers plan themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out. I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small, dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. But it's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Obstin's choice. Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyway, I was a bit scared, but I had to just stick it out under there. Nothing else for it. Then after a while, I heard the sound bang, nearly jumped at my skin. The scream just came out.
Hold it!
When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream involuntarily. That's right. And then I felt the cushion over my head get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes. Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not? Well, girl, did you see what happened at that crucial moment? Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and a quick butcher while I had the chance, didn't I? Christ almighty. The Irishman was sitting up the bloke who had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. That matches Mr. McGilda's account, of course. But then, the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should have never had risked looking. So because of that, this swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. God, her talking like this is fucking annoying. But when Mr. McGilda discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. I was scared stiff, I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit, and he ended up falling onto me. Ugh, how awful. Both me hands got covered in blood, made me feel sick as a dog. Both our hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilda for a while, is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know me name and what I was up to and all that. Then I heard something from above. Someone screamed. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume. Well, I didn't want no one seeing me face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief shining moment, yes. It's clear that they're all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this testimony, I'm sure we would clinch the verdict we want. Yes, I think you're right. I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. And yeah, I'm not seeing it. My guess is the whole passenger falling to the floor, like him falling to the floor, right? Because there's no blood on the floor. Oh, wait, what? Oh, what the fuck is this? See, it has a handle, it seems. Was this always? This was always here. That's blood, isn't it? Something wrong. Oh, it's just, well, this blood stain is so obvious, that's all. Yet Van Zeek's made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Yeah, that wasn't there before. That's why I had issues with this. Okay. Hit this loud bang. I think I present here with the loud bang.
Objection!
Nope. Music's still going. Fuck. There's clearly something odd about the last statement made by the witness. Clearly something odd here indeed, your behavior, counsel. Oh, haha, please, don't mind me. Significantly easier if you lower your hand. I'll lower my hand until I prove my client's innocence. As long as it's quite quick.
Hold it!
I figure that's where I'd have to press. When you say loud and bang, you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor.
Excuse me!
Oh, fuck, that's not what I wanted. God damn it. Let me ask you something, Mr. McGilden. Oh, what would that be, fella? Do you have something to say about that last statement? No, not really. I'm altogether happy with what's been said. Kind of you to ask, still and all. Here, have yourself a tip. Ah. Does he think I was asking for after his general well-being? Okay, you don't get penalized for it, though.
Hold it!
Okay. I want to, like, progress the text, but I guess I can't do that. You let out a scream involuntarily. That's right. Then I felt the cushion of my head get lighter. Got up. And he's not reacting at all, is the issue. I pushed it up and quick. The Irishman was sitting up the book that had fallen to the floor of the seat opposite.
Excuse me!
Something McGill did? What would that be? Something to say? No. Okay. God damn it.
Hold it!
I'm sure it's this statement here. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like, how do I get him to present about the bloodstain? Like we just said, it seems a little too obvious. Is there anything else in here that I may have missed? Besides the obvious bloodstain now. Blood soaked to the seat. Yeah. Can I examine this again? I mean, I can, but it doesn't say anything new about it. And then obviously the seat itself. Well, what is that? Bottom portion. Please, the handle. Storage compartment, nothing in there, it's totally empty. Nothing to seem right. Can't put my finger on it. I'm so lost in where I'm supposed to present. I'm pretty sure it's the omnibus if I had to guess. Clearly visible, but his face is obscured by an old crooked hat. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife. Internal hemorrhaging. Bloodstain on the right glove. I don't think examining this is gonna give me anything new. I wanted to, you know, unsheath the weapon. Yeah, nothing new about it. I'm so lost on where I'm supposed to present or press. Hold it! I don't know if I'm supposed to press it somewhere, is the issue. I'm trying to see if he reacts to anything, but he doesn't, like, move. Yeah. For that reason, we're going to push the cushion, just speak out, truth is.
Well,
Oh. That didn't happen last time. Okay.
Excuse me.
Fuck off. That didn't happen. Something wrong, Mr. McGilden. Oh, I do apologize. Was there something the matter, Counsel? I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrande's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no, no. It was nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass, is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad, shut up in the dark. It was terrifying, so it was. I see. Yes, I'm sure we can all have to sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. Aye, and I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does. Maybe. Miss Lestrade, did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Jabbers, you don't need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. Yes. What should we make of that last statement of hers? I think it's important because she didn't hear anything, there shouldn't be blood on the floor. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important. Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing. Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it. I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern Mind, Counsel. Nevertheless, Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please. What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. That's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move. Or shoot him with a smoke gun. I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring.
Hold it!
So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time, since the moment you hid yourself. Not exactly, no. Sorry. Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher's to see what was what. But then, when I saw this swell getting on, that got me head down so he didn't notice me. And Mr. McGilden sound the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah. Would you Adam and Eve, eh? What a mug.
Excuse me.
Oh, okay, he's just reacting. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was actually a thing or not. He was just reacting. Unfortunate.
Hold it!
Alright. Yeah. Yeah, would you have any even what a bug? So then, all I could do was listen. Waiting to jump out there as soon as I heard him leave, you see? But would he? Not likely. Even though he stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market, snoring like an old dog he was. Are there any conclusions we could draw from that, I wonder? Oh, doesn't add up. Miss Lestrade, what you have just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts. Ah, at odds? Are you sure, man? Absolutely. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zykes realized it too. Counsel, I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least. Yes, my lord. I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court. According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilden's snoring. But think, Ryunosuke, think. There's something else she should have heard. Well, show a person, right? Mr. Mason. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. But a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. The sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person. I would assume the victim, right? Mason.
Take that!
Thrice fired Mason. Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilden. That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight. So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own, for sure. And, from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't it? Waiting for the swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? Ah. We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did, or did not hear, is at odds with the facts. Ah. Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Zykes. Yes, he knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. He's dead right. How could the victim not possibly not? But it makes no sense whatsoever. This girl's a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. Ah! She didn't even say anything. I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars. And neither can I. But Mr. Foreman, I didn't want to judge the girl just because she has some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. Oh boy, we're gonna have to do another fucking examination. Mr. Nadahodo, there's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing. What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Abadan? This is carnage. It's perfect. Juror number 2 is the only one left. Mr. Nadahodo, the way this is going, I know. If we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGilden's innocence, the judge will rule and we'll have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen, but those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. What are you saying? Counsel? I'm sorry, sir? Whatever do you mean? I don't fucking know. Counsel? I will not tolerate you attempting to prorogue my adjudication. Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? Well, they showed up at the same time, is my guess. Because he had to repay his debts, and today was literally the last day. So it would only make sense that they would meet. There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. There's not another entrance. He was put there after he died? That doesn't make sense. Hold up. There's only the one door, right? Yeah, that's not really a door. And there's no handle. So there's only the one entrance. Okay, so there's no other entrance. And obviously, assuming her words to be correct, it's not that he was in there already, so he was put there after he died? What? That was not... I thought they would just walk in together. And that's what I'm going with. Obviously, the victim must have been placed in the carriage after he was killed. Tell me, my learned friend, what was the function of that obviously in your last sentence? Hmm? Well said, Lord Van Zykes. The obviously is troubling also. No, that's really not the point. The point is that the victim must have been moved into the carriage afterwards. Then answer me this. How could a cadaver have been placed inside a moving carriage? Well, obviously... Okay, thank God. Whew, I got it wrong. I was hoping that wasn't right. I was about to penalize the defense heavily for this irrelevant rambling. Thank God. Must learn to ramble more relevantly. Penalty is evidently not heavy enough. It's not heavy enough, judging from those Nipponese eyes. So I ask you again. Yeah, if they are to be believed, how do you... The miraculous appearance. Well, then he was already in there. Clearly, he was already in there from beforehand. There can't be another entrance. That makes no sense. What? Am I blind? Hold up. Like, sure, it looks like a door, but there's no handle. So, what other entrance is there? Are you saying from the top? Oh... I hate everything. I hate everything. I hate everything. It's the... They... Through the window? Are you serious? There's no way. There's no way. I didn't even think about that. Well, yeah, I only have so many chances left, so clearly this is the right answer. There's another entrance, huh? The door wasn't opened even once. The only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way.
Objection!
I wonder what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. Yeah, two other ones that got it wrong. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other only has windows. Fixed windows, which cannot possibly open. In short, there's no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
Objection!
Oh, hell yeah, match him. But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really? Yes, one other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin. Alright, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Here's the omnibus in which the incident occurred. Where on earth is this entrance by which you propose the victim enter the cabin? Well, the window, right? That was my guess.
Take that!
Okay, music stopped, thank God. The answer is obvious. It could have only been the skylight. I say, the skylight?
Objection!
Your ludicrous proposal almost has me lost for words. However,
Objection!
the skylight may well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
So you claim, but do you have a shred of evidence to support your addled brain theory? Well, we have it right there. Let's just test it. Both Mr. McGilden and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor. Oh. Yes, which has already been explained. That's the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with a dagger. Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses described? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact. Good gracious. Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible. How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person has made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but... Might a humble fella make a wee comment here? Mr. McGilden. To be sure now, the two fellows who were sat on the roof that testified afore said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But, it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much a case of them not saying, but... Aye. 'Tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would you not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Oh my goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof. You mean the ones who struck that knife in the man were... Oh. I figured it's just they weren't on the carriage yet. Was I right that it was fucking first the whole entire time? Just like, what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer? Oh, what the fuck is he doing? You rotter, he said. You rotter. What are you insinuating? This is a flaming outrage. I have a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute. He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said, and so will I. Mr. Fairplay, you're effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and well-respected banker. And me, a very angry hatter. Can you fucking stop? Suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. It's, I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms. And that's right. I protest too. About you, you rotten scoundrel. Order, order, order! This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once. But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous. It's very hurtful, you know. Can you fucking stop being a freak? My lord, if I may comment. Go ahead, Lord Van Zykes. It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof. Accuse? I never intended to. It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation. I know I was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get them to testify. I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on the fellow. We have to see this matter through now, one way or another. If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once. Oh, that's sick. Testify. What's happening, Mr. Donahoe? The spectators in the public gallery they're in a complete frenzy. Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. My lord? You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony. In reference to the indictment brought by the defense. Yes, my lord. I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. That was a twist of the case that I was not expecting, but if that means I'd be right, then I called First being the murderer. We were the only two people up on the roof deck, dead or alive, I could swear to that. If anything had happened when we were sitting, don't you think one or the other would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it. You're so sure the victim fell through the skylight. Where's your proof? I must say that on listening to this testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine. Oh, either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith. That's right, you see. We're innocent, I tell you. Although logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another. What? Huh? According to investigations by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings. Ah, well, I don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinking rich. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial's going in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy? Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. Refuting the accusation. Hey, let me save. I have, like, literally 2 chances left, and I'm gonna bungle it, for sure. Only 2 people alive on the roof deck. Probably gonna have to press every statement now. So at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck. Absolutely not. Dickin. Got it. I hate that you do this. No question about it, he said. Not at all. Oh, but yes, of course. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin talking with this man here. Is this true, Mr. McGilden? Dear me, my lord. At the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and nodded off inside almost immediately. That's an outright lie. Without doubt, you were engaged in. Let me stop you there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? Ah. It's all about evidence at the courts these days, so it is. You do well to remember that. Ah, I saw you with my own eyes. This is going so well. If anything had happened when we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed?
Hold it!
Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus, at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark. Perhaps too dark to see clearly. Is this some kind of lark? Is this some kind of joke, he said? Is that what this is? Or perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly. Are you fair dinkum, sir? Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you. I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bitter cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut and you'd never open them again. That's extreme. It was extreme, I tell you, and we had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. I'm definitely sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear you at all. That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone. No, 'twas a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. It's hardly surprising. Seeing things? Seeing things? I believe we have reached an impasse here on this particular point. Ugh, you. Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then it's only fair that you and the other fiend are as well. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about. This isn't a competition I should like to be involved in, really. In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. Well, that we already proved that incorrect. I'm gonna save here again. Because we have the ledger. I don't know if I'm supposed to present that here. But I'm gonna present the ledger. Oh wait, no, that's for, Magnus, never mind.
Hold it!
Not for Mason. So you had never met the Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before? Oh, Lum, no, not once, never. You never met the man before, he said, never. And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either. That's right, sir. I just don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir. No, I imagine not. You see? How many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin.
Excuse me!
Mr. McGilden? Yes, counsel. What can I be doing for you? Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought somehow? Not the remotest connection. Is that right now, I wonder? Probably because of the hat, right? From the picture of the murder. What are you insinuating now? Ah, Mr. Fairplay. It has been too long, someone asked. If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date. I beg your pardon? You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir. At an unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion. Well now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? The sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass his crimes off on another? And young Mr. First. But me, sir? What do you want with me, sir? You do be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding about on your head. Is that one of your own creations, is it? Oh, well, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand. I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door. The perfect fit, is it? Well, tis a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch. Customers? Such as Thrice-Fired Mason? Ah! There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence before, my lord. Oh, this you mean? Yeah, the hat. It's kind of weird. I can't help thinking that the poor fella's hat looks distinctly familiar. What did you say? Oh! That's one of my hats. Aye, that it is. So it seemed the brickmaker was a customer of yours. Yeah, he also testified earlier that he didn't recognize the hats or couldn't make out the details. The sort of customer, I'd wager, you could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods. Oh, no, sir. Absolutely not, sir. Well, there's really nothing more to add. It would be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest my case. You little weasel. Ugh. He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGilden has certainly been thorough in his research, hasn't he? Please, don't let me and a little interruption hold up the proceedings. Skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We could have possibly opened it. So we had no reason to kill the man. Currently, no, but still.
Hold it!
Are you quite certain about that? That the skylight was shut the entire time? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute. He's going to lose his rad with you in a minute. That's what he said. Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see? It's shut fast now, just like it was on the night. So it is. Of course, a fellow the size of Mr. Mason could likely break through it. Still and all. What? Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand. Now you hold on there a minute, sir. The size of this thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Let's stop biting our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke wind, loudly. I shocked myself with it, as it happens. This is an unexpected confession, Mr. Furs. Oh, I just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see? But, just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as Rouge did. I did. Are you expecting me to sentence you? Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was inside that cabin of shame. Oh, interesting.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade. It opens. The skylight. That is what we're talking about, right? We're just gonna watch her do this and shoot us? All them skylights open. Dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon? That's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, You can't do it from the inside, you mug. Oh. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags, and I had a great haul. I mean, I had purses coming out me ears. Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities. Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was, I used the skylight, opened the catch, and jumped right through. What? Yeah, the catch for them skylights is on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. The skylight opens from the roof deck? Bailiff! Climb up onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify this witness's claims. Yeah, we saw the latch. Huh. Ah. Oh, my hat. See? Order, order, order! So, it appears that this street girl's statement is quite true. I don't believe it. The skylight opens, and from the roof deck. Mr. Naruhodo, this could be the clue we've been looking for. Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. Do I need to? skylight was fastened shut before, but now the catch has been undone, we should be able to open it. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. Alright, so let's investigate from the inside. There's the blood that was added. Oh! Yes, it does open very wide, doesn't it? Wide enough to kick someone like you through, certainly, Mr. Nodohu. Why someone like me? Ah! What is it? Look, just here. Look at this. That's, without question, it's blood. Why would there be a blood stain there? Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it? Aha. Presumption the victim fell through the skylight. Where's your proof? Well, I just got it right now.
Objection!
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach, and immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts, and irrefutable proof remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom. What? That's utter humbug. Ugh, you can't possibly have any evidence. No, you can't. I mean, we didn't do it, I tell you. It's impossible. Irrefutable proof here in this courtroom. Counsel. My lord. I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here, Where exactly within the omnibus is the evidence to which you allude? You will point out what it is that proves the victim fell through the roof deck through the skylight. Yeah, it's right here.
Got it!
By Jupiter! Is that blood? This blood stain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open. What? And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. Oh my. And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime. Order, order, order!
Hold it!
Oh. But the blood could have been sprayed up there when the fellow was stabbed inside the cabin. And only found its way to that one particular spot in the skylight. Sure, and that would be very convenient. Ah. And let's keep it in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I? But, there's no way to know for certain, is there? If the jet really fell through the skylight, I mean. Why don't you have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? It's all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fellow dropped from a fair height right here, there, so it is. What? No. But it can't be, it's all lies.
Hold it!
My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we? I believe we can. Yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom. So, they thought they could pull the wool over my eyes, did they? I won't tolerate any of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it. Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park could have done such a thing. On three then, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Objection!
A chilling performance, Mr. McGilded. Yeah, things still don't add up, because I'm pretty sure that bloodstain on the ground wasn't there before. Oh? And what would you be referring to there now, Lord Van Zykes? Oh, whoops. A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void. What? Why? For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
Objection!
Yep, it happened when the smoke grenade happened. What are you talking about? It's there for all to see, and it's clearly blood.
Objection!
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute surety, no such smear of blood existed in the carriage. At least, not until this trial began. But, are you suggesting, Lord Van Zykes, that this stain of blood was fabricated, my lord? Yes. And while this court has been in session. What? Yeah, the smoke bomb that she fucking unleashed. I figured. What a palaver. I must say I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor of your standard, Lord Van Zykes. But I'm Magnus McGilded, a felon known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey. Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoid getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case that you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts. Adapt the facts? What does that even mean? When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilden's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir. Tut tut, Lord Van Zykes. This will not do, to be sure. Will it now, counsel? Hmm? Oh, no. I think it's fair to say, this all does sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood of the skylight didn't exist, you say. But, if you will all cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus there had been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly have put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? Isn't that right now, counsel? It's true. The omnibus has been in full view the entire time the court has been in session. My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter, in your own words. As you wish. I'm gonna make another save. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during this trial? If you're asking me, I think it could have been possible. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There is no evidence to suggest that the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility. Oh. Good gracious. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this deceit. Deceit? I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take. As a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. Yeah, I thought someone got shot. That would be crazy. What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, you rotten feckless gouger? Feckless? Gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. This is a wicked plot. This is a plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Inconsistencies such as, to start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood at the edge of the skylight. As I have said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning. Unfortunately, Lord Van Sykes, no one is able to corroborate your claims. That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut. Accordingly, I'm afraid to say we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not. Indeed, my lord. No doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things. What do you think? Sorry? Well, yeah, we investigated it. About the omnibus. Is there anything else unnatural about the omnibus? Yeah, I have an inkling. My lord. Yes, counsel. There is one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial. What? What the devil's name are you going to say now? If you dare betray me... Oh. Silence, McGilded. The court awaits the defense's clarification. This trial keeps swinging one way and then the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here? The truth, really. I shall have to ask you to elaborate, counsel. Where exactly is this alleged mark that you claimed appeared at some point during the trial? Well, I'm not going crazy.
Got it!
Right there. If you consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this blood stain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom. Good lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, counsel. Well said. Although, as an advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue. I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine, or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. This trial is over. Mr. McGilded, I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but it's all over now. But you're the defendant. It's over, I tell ye. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw, is all the nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is that bloodstain is there now. Well, and over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, that good-for-nothing Reaper of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am. I thought better of Lord Van Sykes. Well, my lord? I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence, and in the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue. Your lordship can't be serious. Lord Van Sykes, what is your position? The prosecution, my lord. has no further witnesses or evidence to present. Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed to my adjudication. As a formality, I am of course obliged to confirm with the defense first. What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilden would be found not guilty. Yes. Which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now, with all these unexplained inconsistencies? Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please. Yes, my lord. The defense believes. For the save. We're gonna send this man to the gallows. Fuck him. The defendant could be guilty. I am here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilden. However, at this moment in time, I cannot in all good conscience attest fully to the defendant's innocence. What are you saying, man? Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there is also no conclusive evidence to prove that he is innocent. Good gracious me! Order! Order! This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. A defense lawyer calling the accused innocence into question. Are you sound of mind? Oh, it was a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer. So it was. A grand decision. What? I must say, I didn't expect quite such an exciting spectacle at the end there, but still. Here, have this for your troubles. Ah. Your job here is done, fella. It's some fine work you've done, so you have. What do you mean? Just as the right honorable gentleman so succinctly put it before, the trial can't go on anymore. And your closing statement there was, how did he put it now? Not more than a formality. I really don't know what to make of all this. Was the evidence we've seen genuine, or was it fake? His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, I say. The stinking rich are always guilty of something. You mark my words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us the lovely park. Now that proceedings have unfolded this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea. I thank you kindly, my lord. I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
Objection!
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain of the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth. Lord Van Zykes. My lord, the case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place. My sincerest apologies, my lord.
Objection!
But, wait! When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Van Zykes ordered the evidence to be secured. I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter. That's so unfair. The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. What? Well, Lord Van Zykes, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time? 'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, you can always go ahead and try to change the law. Magnus McGilded. Good grief. More to say to me, have you? Just one thing. A warning. This is far from over. Well, something to be looking forward to then. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Oh, this doesn't feel good. I don't want the not guilty verdict if it's... I mean, hooray fireworks, but fuck that. Yo, all these people are, like, not getting justice brought to them. What the fuck is this game? Can't believe it. This is outrage. They should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? The man's been cleared. He's innocent. With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. And my first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end, with the defendant being found not guilty. Ostensibly a victory for us. It makes me wonder, I doubt it though, if there are like multiple endings to the game. But I'm pretty sure we're supposed to get the not guilty. 18th February, 5:14 p.m., Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. That certainly was a long trial. Yeah, you're fucking telling me. Shorter, actually, technically. Yes it was. First ever trial on foreign soil, and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations. And to you, Mr. Sato. Thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. Trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection. Aye, that you did. Mr. McGilded. Ah, and that girl was with him too. Well, it seems the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure you must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Yes, definitely. I'd heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And have you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk out of there a free man, then? I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. Ah, 'tis water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. But nothing's resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh, I. They've all seen that I didn't do that odious and obstinate deed. Says grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now the fine fellows of Scotland Yard can take matters in hand and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I have absolute faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be provided a good number of their wages with all the taxes I pay. It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed aforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Ah, be wilts. You're a humble people, are ye? You from the east? Well, if you insist. But have this, still in all, you deserve a reward. Mr. Magnus McGilded. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. To the courtroom? What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. there were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now, but as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help where I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting you. I hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain. And there he goes, a free man. Oh, I forgot she was here too. We could, like, walk out of the way right now. Don't move. Or as I want to say, get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up. Sorry? And I hate all grown-ups. Ah, there you are. Who the hell is this? The game was going so well. Naughty naughty running off like that. Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now? And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ah. I'm sorry? Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. I'm assuming you also make Herlock Sholmes stuff too? The inventor? Well, normal smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? White, white, or white. You have to be shrouded in smoke, it can at least be a pretty color, I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though? At all? I just took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing onto a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon. What's it? What? I have no idea what this girl is talking about. Anyway, you're coming with me now. Back to my laboratory. What? What for? To apologize, of course, silly. To my technician. What? You mean, say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. An adult? I don't listen to no adults. Come along then. Follow me. Fine. Have it your way. Oh good, you see? I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end. I'm fairly sure that what she wants is not to get shot by that massive gun of yours. We'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss. She was a lively one. Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too? Yes, you're right. But where to? Oh, we haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner have we arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings, but at this late hour in the day, we're afraid we may be out of luck. Don't worry though, I have a plan. Worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night. Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park. I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through. I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person's soul just as easily as an elderly one. Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable. Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room. Or mansion. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over. What is this?
Get the fire brigade!
Water! Bring water, quick! What the? How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating. No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there.
This can't be.
Oh, thank God he's safe. Oh, so that is case 3 end. So case 4 is going to be the follow-up to it, I'm guessing. I thought I'd have to be here for much longer. Episode 4, The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. Holy shit. What the fuck? Yeah. Alright. Well, that was episode 3. What a roller coaster of everything. And wild fucking characters, but hey, I'm back at it. And as I always say it, because I always fucking say it, hopefully life doesn't fuck me over and prevent me from putting out the next one soon. Even with it being so close to Christmas, but... oh man, it feels good to be back playing this game. And just playing in general. But, hope you enjoyed. I don't even know what to make of that whole... people are not getting retribution or justice put to them. And the payoff is going to be good on episode 5 when it ends, hopefully. But goddamn, is it frustrating. But for now, this is where we're going to cut it off at. Hope you enjoyed. Look forward to the next part. Hope you watch the others. And as always, till next time, goodbye.